Hello everyone, I am back. Now there will not be much wrestling talk from me today as the topic of this video will predominantly be about Godzilla. Now, if you do want wrestling talk from me, part 1 of my new Undertaker series is dropping later this week, so be on the lookout for that. But as far as current events in professional wrestling goes, there isn't a whole lot for me to talk about right now. AEW is not really exciting me either in a bad way or a good way. It's just kind of existing right now. The thing I'm most excited about is MJF winning the title at Full Gear, but I'll comment on that more as we get closer to that event. For WWE, I didn't watch Crown Jewel. I typically don't watch the Saudi shows, but I heard Logan Paul versus Roman Reigns was fun, so maybe I'll check that match out, but I didn't see the show, so I can't really talk about it in depth or review it. As for other current events and news and notes, the CM Punk situation is still up in the air, so not a whole lot to say about that. Nick Aldis left the NWA, which is the biggest headline NWA has had in 2.5 years, and Braun Strowman put his foot in his mouth. So that's really all there is in wrestling right now, and not enough for me to really dedicate an entire video to. So we're going to forego the wrestling, at least for now, and focus on Godzilla and progress on the book and the various things that came out last week. Now, last week was Godzilla Day, commemorating the 68th anniversary of the big guy, and man, oh man, this is the biggest Godzilla Day that there has ever been. So much happened. You got John Carpenter hosting a Godzilla movie marathon over at Shout TV. A couple of short films dropped. O'Shea Jackson Jr., the son of Ice Cube and star of Straight Outta Compton, the film where he played his dad, and cast member of the film Godzilla King of the Monsters 2019, announced his own Godzilla project that he's currently working on and trying to get off the ground. Monarch G-Team, a series that fits within the continuity of Legendary Pictures Monsterverse, and he's already shown preliminary artwork for Gigan and Biollante, and it looks outstanding. And Gigan himself is kind of in vogue right now, and I'll explain why in a little bit, but yeah, this stuff looks very cool. And the thing I like about O'Shea, because I listened to him as part of the director's commentary for Godzilla King of the Monsters, is that he is undoubtedly a lifelong fan of this stuff, and he was excited to be a part of Godzilla King of the Monsters, albeit in a role that I feel could have been bigger. But it was a smaller role, but he took it because he enjoyed being in a Godzilla movie. And now he's putting his own passion and energy into his own Godzilla-related project, very similarly to, and him on a much bigger scale. I never envisioned writing for a Godzilla project or creating my own Godzilla story. I'm just writing a book about the stuff that's already happened with the Monster Fight record. I do have an update on that, by the way, so But with O'Shea, it's like he wants to do his own animated Godzilla series, it seems, and it would be great if he was able to get that off the ground and make something of it. I'm fully in favor of it because he's clearly passionate about this stuff and excited about this stuff, much like me and most other fans that talk about Godzilla here on social media or on YouTube and various other locations. So I wish him all the best. I'm going to post a link to his Twitter in the description, so if you want any updates about this project, you can go check that out for yourself. Now, as it relates to my own Godzilla project, Godzilla the Monster Fight record, the status currently stands as Volume 1 is currently entering its final proofreading phase, the manuscript for Volume 1, doing its last proofreading. I've submitted to my editor on a week ago, so a week ago on Tuesday. And it's, yeah, we're getting close to the end of Volume 1, getting that thing ready for publication, and based on the feedback that I received for Volume 1, I am currently reshaping my draft for Volume 2 to better match the changes to Volume 1, kind of getting ahead of the curve there, but for right now, I am in talks with some publishers. I don't want to say anything. I've contacted a couple, and we'll see how that goes. I still have not made a final decision on whether or not I want to go the publication route or to self-publish. And I've also not gotten anything concrete from any publication companies. It's just kind of like, just a bunch of talking right now, nothing concrete has happened. But we're nearing completion of the book as it stands. Now, to go back to Godzilla Day and the various things that came out of it, there were 2 short films that were released by Toho. One live action done in the classic man in suit, destroying Model City style, Fest Godzilla 3 Gigan's Attack, which features a Suitmation-style Godzilla versus Gigan battle that is terrific and done in that old-school style that classic homemade approach. It's like apple pie, and I love seeing it, and it always puts a smile on my face. And I thought it was absolutely great. And also, there was the animated short, Godzilla vs. Gigan Rex. Now, this year marks the 50th anniversary of Godzilla vs. Gigan, which is why Gigan is in vogue right now. But Gigan himself is a very cool monster. I feel like he should get more appearances. To me, he's kind of like... The top 5 are Godzilla, Rodan, Mothra, King Ghidorah, Mechagodzilla. They're kind of the elites. And then you have King Kong as like the biggest special guest star. That would be his role. And the next step down, I feel like, would be Gigan and Garrus, and maybe some of the Heisei-era monsters like Destroya, Biollante, Space Godzilla. So, Gigan is one that deserves to come back more, and, you know, if a 50th anniversary is a way to get him involved more, I think that that's great. Now, the 2 short films... I talked about the live-action one. The animated one, Godzilla vs. Gigan Rex, was also stellar, also great, took full advantage of the fact that in animation there are no limitations, and you can do whatever you want. And that was great. Looked like a comic book come to life with a lot of creativity. But the major talking point coming out of it was that Megumi Odaka, I hope I said that right, the actress who played Miki Sagusa during the Heisei-era films, she provided the narration for the short, and there are also other visual cues that link this short to the Heisei series, which has led many to speculate that the Godzilla featured in this short is actually the full-grown Godzilla Jr. that we see at the end of Godzilla vs. Destroya. Which it looks like that was intentional, and if so, awesome little attention to detail there, and it's an awesome continuation of the Heisei storyline, something that Toho's never really done before. Once they conclude a storyline and conclude a continuity, that's it. They've never really gone back and revisited any of the old continuities, so to see them do it here, even in a very small way, I thought was pretty cool, and the special itself, the little short, was awesome, great, and is getting a lot of buzz online among the Godzilla fan community, so that's really good to see. I thought both shorts were great and definitely worth your time. Now, I'm going to post a link to the live stream that Toho did where they showed both shorts. They've been kind of stingy lately about letting other people post the shorts elsewhere. The live action one in particular has been pulled from a few places like Rick the Squirrel's channel, but... and there's been talks that they're going to pull the live stream from their own channel. I don't know why they would do that. Please leave it up for the love of God, Toho. Just please leave that thing up because I would love to go back and view that thing a few more times. But for right now, it is up, and I am going to post it in the description down below. So you'll have a link to that if you want to see it. And it's an 8-hour live stream, but they do have time codes leading to the short film. So you have that for sure. So, Now, how do those short films relate to my book, The Monster Fight Record, where I go over the entire Godzilla series and determine a win-loss record for Godzilla and all of his monster co-stars? I've determined that the short films, the 2 Gigan ones, and the Hedorah short film from a year ago are out of scope. They will not be included in the fight record, and the main reason is the fight record that I'm creating this book for is focusing entirely on feature-length cinematic films. And that's been my decision. When I first started this project way back in 2020 when I was losing my mind stuck at home from the COVID lockdowns and I was just looking for something to do, which led to the creation of this whole thing. My original plan was to do a full, all-encompassing scope of all Godzilla media. I was going to include Godzilla vs. Charles Barkley. I was going to include the Godzilla Gamera stage show that almost nobody knows anything about, and I was going to do my best to find information to derive some kind of a win-loss record from that stage show. I was going to include the comics. I was going to include all the animated shows, the Zone Fighter series, everything I could possibly get my hands on that was Godzilla-related, I was going to include in scope. But then when I saw the outline, I realized, oh my god, I'm going to be writing this thing until 5 years after I'm dead. It's going to take forever, and it's going to be like 9,000 pages long. So, the decision that I made was to shorten the scope to just the movies, which includes all of the Godzilla films and potential, other in-scope films that connect back to Godzilla, whether it be the standalone Toho monster films like Rodan, Mothra, War of the Gargantuas, films like that, Space Amoeba. and any MonsterVerse films that don't include Godzilla, which as of right now is only Kong Skull Island, and the Rebirth of Mothra trilogy. Films like that connect to Godzilla, creating a full scope of 51 films. That in of itself is pretty long and pretty involved, so I think including these short films is extending the scope beyond what the intended purpose is. And if I included the short films, then it would get the ball rolling. It's like, well, if I include those, I gotta include the TV shows, and if I include those, I gotta include the comics and all this other stuff. And it just becomes me having like internal debates with myself and going crazy. So for right now, the short films are out of scope. Even though they're great and you should go check them out, they're out of scope for the fight record. But who knows, maybe I'll go back and write a Volume 3 or Volume 4 or Volume 5 that includes those other pieces of media. But for right now, the short films are out of scope. And another impact to the scope is Toho's big announcement that there will be another Toho-produced Godzilla movie coming out November 3rd, 2023, the 69th anniversary of Godzilla. Nice. And yeah, this news has driven the fan base wild because it's like, oh my god, we're getting another Godzilla movie mere months before the release of Legendary Pictures' Godzilla vs. Kong sequel. So there's a lot to be excited about if you're a kaiju fan or a Godzilla fan or both. It's a very exciting time. How does this impact the record? Well, it's really given me added incentive to kind of like start getting things finalized and get this thing published, because I think if we can get this thing published around the time of the release of the new film, which is Godzilla Zero is the working title I think they have going right now, and the speculation is that this story will take place right after World War II, so it may even be a prequel to the original 1954 film. Who knows? We're all just kind of waiting in the dark. All they've released right now is a poster and a date, and everyone's lost their minds. We haven't seen any footage or anything. So, but it is very exciting to think about that. We'll be getting a Japanese Godzilla movie next year, and then immediately afterwards, assuming there are no delays, which, you know, it's the MonsterVerse, so who knows. We'll be getting a MonsterVerse film early into 2024, so we're going to be getting lots and lots of Godzilla material. And shit, I have still not watched Shin Ultraman. I need to get my hands on that one. But in any case, a lot of things to be excited about in terms of Godzilla-related media over the next couple years or so. And I've kind of used this as a talking point with all the big news that came out last week. I was like, look, and you know, end of next year, Godzilla Fever is really going to be kicking in, and we can get this book released around that time, in the months between Godzilla Zero and the Godzilla vs. Kong sequel. I think it would be very beneficial because fans are going to be going nuts and going gaga for any kind of material they can find. I think releasing this around that time would be great because Godzilla will be fresh on everybody's mind, and the fan base will be super excited about him, like I am. You know, I mean, God, it would be really cool if we can get Godzilla Zero released stateside, and we can do a double feature with Godzilla Zero and Godzilla vs. Kong 2. Like, that would be awesome if we could pull that off. I would be all on board with that. But hopefully I would have time to see it. I didn't get to go to, Fathom Events showed Godzilla against Mechagodzilla on Godzilla Day for a special screening. I wasn't able to go to that, unfortunately. One of the theaters near me was also doing a special screening of The Return of Godzilla from '84. I wasn't able to go to that either. But in any case, I would do my best to go see a double feature for those two new films. I think that would be a great, great day at the movies. For me, not so much for my wife, but, you know, she'd probably be like, you just go, have your fun. I'll find something else to do that day. But in any case, yeah, those are all the news and all the notes and everything and how it all stands right now. So hopefully I can get things moving forward on the book. Again, I have made progress. Volume 1 is nearing completion. But I'm getting close to that. It's like, all right, I really, really need to make a decision on how this thing's going to be published and how this thing's going to be released. So I need to start talking to people. And I have started talking to people, but we need to get those conversations moving into something more concrete rather than just speculating and highs and goodbyes and those type of things. But it's a very exciting time to be a Godzilla fan, and I'm here for it. So more updates to Godzilla, the Monster Fight record will come on this channel and on my Twitter. You can see the handle right down below. Also, link in the description. Be sure to check that out. And on this channel, you can like, subscribe, hit the little bell icon so you get notified when I post new videos. A lot of the updates are going to be coming on this channel and on my Twitter, so be on the lookout for those. But that is all I have for you now. Thanks again, everybody, for watching, and I will see you all later.